All right, we are going to go for it, part 3, right after part 2. Why? Because I want to get this down while it's fresh in my mind. And for part 3, I have this idea of what I want to share with you. An extension of tongue blocking practice, but this final, I think it'll be the final video, will, in this series, will basically demonstrate a way to bring in another tongue blocking technique, the flutter, and a totally different, not related to tongue blocking necessarily, technique, the head shake or warble. So and what I would recommend for this exercise is that if you have the notes from one, you download the notes and use that pattern. I'm not gonna, well, maybe I should bring that up real quick. Okay, let's see if I can find it. And so what you want to do is go through part 1. Here it is. Go through part 2. The single notes, tongue blocked, and then some octave and splits practice in part 2. And now here we are in part 3. So let me see if I can find my live video. All right, cool. I found it. Excellent. Yeah, I am all or nothing on YouTube, Lise. I'm totally all or nothing. Today's one of those days I'm all in. And what I want to do is get this down while it's fresh. So we've got the notes here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do two things. We're going to combine part 1 and 2, which was single notes and splits and octaves, like this. So one time you can play it, or 2 times in a row as a single note, the next time as the octave split. That's good. That's just like a nice little warm up. Let's combine the two. But then here's the change up. Aha, the 3/4 now is going to become a warble instead of a dirty note. And I can put the octaves. So let me slow down and talk about what I'm doing. Okay. So these are all single notes. Right there, first 4 notes that I just highlighted. The next 2 is a warble. Or sorry, this becomes a warble, the 3 drop. And this becomes an octave, the 4. Back to the warble. So let me play this line several times very slowly so you can hear what I'm doing. All tongue blocked. You don't have to tongue block the warble, but it's easy to do. Either way, pucker it, tongue block it, doesn't matter. You get where I'm coming from here? All right. That's the first big adjustment. We put in the warble and we combine single notes and octaves and splits. We're getting a little more advanced here in part 3. Okay. And perhaps I'll update the Google Drive link that I put in part 1 to include some of more description here. But really, you should just print it out and write it out yourselves to get that practice. Here's the change up in the 4 chord. The final 5 blow is going to become a flutter. What is a flutter? A flutter is simply taking the tongue gently on and off and wagging it against the harp, against that single note. Real gentle. Tongue needs to go into a bit of a spasm and relax. All right. So it sounds like this. Same thing goes with this line. We could also bring in one of the times single notes. But it's harder to go from the octave to the flutter. You might flutter the octave, but I'm not as quick on that. So the single note flutter is a cool substitute for the final note in the 4 chord, the 5 blow. Then we're back here and we do the new version. By the way, I could start in octave form, in split form, and play a slap single note on this, reverse everything. Either way, that's great to switch it up and think like that. So try that. And if you're watching this and going, well, I don't know what you're talking about, go back to part one, and then part two, and then this. And then the 5 chord area, let's see what we can do. These two, the 2/4 draws at the end, this one right here, and this one are great substitutes for flutters. Look at that. I could even bring in the flutter to this 5 blow as well. Originally, I said just the last one, but you could bring it in here as well. That's the part 3, everybody. You got practice now that you can get into for single notes, slaps right there if you want to make them slaps, octaves and splits in part 2, and now combining other techniques, flutters and warbles into these phrases and mixing up the octaves and single notes. That's a full workout. So if part 1 was way too easy, work on this. I hope it's helpful. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for tuning in.